Hey, Tommy from the Run Testers. In this video, we're going to be looking at the Saucony Triumph 23 and seeing if this shoe worth you buying. Let's have a look. The Saucony Triumph 23 costs £170 or $170. It weighs 278 grams or 9.8 ounces for men in a size 8, and the drop is 10mm. The Triumph line has seen a number of changes over its lifetime, with a mixed response to certain iterations of the shoe. The Triumph 23 is a noticeable deviation from the bulky 22, focusing on delivering changes that make the shoe lighter and giving it a smoother heel-to-toe transition. The Power Run PB aims to be lighter and softer than the previous version, providing an improved experience, especially for longer training sessions. That focus is mirrored in a redesigned rubber outsole that works alongside that foam to ensure a more fluid, natural ride. The upper is a lightweight engineered mesh built for breathability and comfort, and includes a thick, padded, gusseted toe.
So it comes to the fit of the Saucony Triumph 23. I was accidentally sent a size 8 to test of the shoe instead of my usual size 9 UK, so it does come up a bit short. It's been okay, I've been able to get through testing. It's just been a bit cramped, especially when running down hills and that kind of thing, but I do think the shoe would fit perfectly well if I had my normal size here. Other than that, no concerns really with the upper at all. It's quite padded around the tongue and the collar here, especially the tongue, which will mean it feels a bit hot if you're running in the summer months like I am here, or if you just run in a hot place in general, but it's not been too bad. Good hold around the heel and midfoot, no slipping or anything like that. So yeah, the fit was fine for me, except I had too small a shoe. I would stick to your normal size.
Fit then, and I ran in my regular Saucony shoe size. That's a UK 8.5, which is a US 9.5. I tend to get on really well with Saucony shoes. They tend to fit me almost like a glove. I get a really natural disappearing fit from most of the shoes in the Saucony lineup. They tend to just seem to work well with my foot shape. Overall, the same is true for the Triumph 23. There is loads of space up front. There's a big thumb's length in the toe box, decent wiggle room across the top. There's lots of room around the toe knuckles, and I find the quite narrow heel collar holds my heel really well in place. The higher heel collar back here I thought might potentially be a problem because it rises quite high up the Achilles, but that was no trouble at all. Lacing across the midfoot was good for me. You've got a nicely padded tongue here, which brings a lot of comfort to it. So this has got a nice roomy sort of ultra run friendly fit as well. I think it's airy, lots of wiggle room, spacious, no worries about butting up against the end of the shoe. Some may find it actually a little bit too roomy, but overall I like the space, and I would recommend sticking true to size unless you want everything to feel a bit more snug or you've got particularly kind of narrow feet.
So the fit for me in the Triumph 23, I'm a size 8 in the UK, this is a size 8. It's a very roomy shoe. The forefoot has loads of space around the toe section. Definitely a shoe that's designed for people who maybe need a bit of extra space, but there is loads before the big toe as well. I'd probably go as far as to say you might want to size down half a size in this shoe if you like a little bit less space before your big toe, because there's a lot more in it than what I normally get in shoes that I test in a UK size 8. The midfoot is quite roomy as well. There's definitely a bit more space than I'd normally experience in a size 8 shoe, but I can easily get a lockdown fit in it. I've not had any issues in it when I've been out on the run in terms of the lockdown. The lacing system is very good. There's loads of padding around the ankle collar, and there's a really nice padded tongue as well. So I would probably suggest that you size down half a size in this shoe. I've been fine with mine, and if you like a bit of extra space you should be okay, but it is a very roomy shoe and there's quite a bit of extra space in the forefoot.
The run test then, I think you have to go back to the Triumph 21 for a version of this shoe that I really enjoyed. The 22 didn't quite land for me, so I was interested to see if the Triumph 23 might rediscover some of what I found was sort of a livelier energy and a higher sort of versatility that you got in the 21. Now in testing, I've clocked around 25 miles in the Triumph 23 with lots of slower miles, some mixed pace runs to see what happens when you run with more intent. All of that's been on the roads with the odd park path thrown in. I've done some miles on very tired legs, recovering from the Comrades Marathon, and some on fresher legs more recently. When it comes to the ride, I wouldn't say it was immediately 100% natural underfoot straight out of the box for me. Everything just felt a little bit slappy. There was a bit of a disconnect, but that did sort of dissipate over subsequent runs that I did. It kind of evened out a bit. Now, I really noticed the wide forefoot base that you get here, which brings a lot of stability, a lot of reliability underfoot. And there is a nice control to this Triumph 23. But at times, I think it can make it feel maybe a little bit bulky. Didn't quite give me that sort of more instant pickup that I really like. I found I had to work a little bit harder at times to sort of get through touchdown to toe off. And the key sensations for me here are sort of softness, cushion, reliability, along with some pretty good stability. The footbed cradles nicely with a soft edge. There's a little bit of spring back, a little bit of energy coming, but this is a shoe I think, for me, it feels like it wants to go slower rather than faster. And there's a decent amount of softness back here in the heel. I think for people who might be landing further back in the heel, you get quite a lot of good compression and cushion back there, so that's one thing to watch for if that's what you tend to look for. I think the Triumph is another shoe that sort of flip-flopped from slightly firmer to slightly softer, and I think we're still in the sort of softer end of things here with the 23, and that maybe will limit how I would use this shoe.
Okay, so I've talked a lot about the Triumph 22 over the past year. It's a shoe that I was quite underwhelmed with. I was a big fan of the 20 and 21. I thought those shoes were really versatile. They sort of hit the nail on the head when it came to cushioning and versatility in the same shoe. They were the sort of shoe that if I went to visit my parents for a week and I needed to take one pair of shoes and I needed to do loads of different runs in, I'd probably take that shoe because it was just really comfortable for plodding through the miles, but you could pick up the pace a little bit, and it wasn't by any stretch of the imagination a fast shoe, but it definitely had a bit more to it. The midsole was nicely balanced, but it had a little bit of energy return in, and had a lovely smooth transition, nice level of comfort. The Triumph 22 wasn't a shoe for me. Didn't really enjoy it at all. Just found it to be quite blocky. Didn't have any nice transition in it. Just found like when I was landing on it, I just wasn't getting anything from it. I just sort of hit the ground, lift my foot up and go again. And I really didn't enjoy testing that shoe. I used it for London Marathon last year and it just didn't work. I just wish I hadn't used that shoe for it. And all the testing that I did after it, I just found it to be a shoe that just lacked any of that enjoyment I got from the previous versions of the shoe. So the Triumph 23 is a return to form to an extent. It's definitely a much better shoe for me for daily training miles. The midsole is a little bit softer, there's a bit more to it, and it also has a nice rolling action to it as well. So it's definitely an easier shoe to enjoy miles in, and it's just makes it easier to tick off those miles. It's more versatile than the 22. I wouldn't say it's anywhere near as versatile as the 21, but I do think it's a step in the right direction. I think it's pretty much a shoe that has become something that you'd wear just for chowing through the miles at a nice comfortable pace. I don't think it's there's a lot to this shoe in the same way that the 21 was a really exciting shoe that ticks a lot of boxes. I think this is just a nice, good, comfortable, smooth daily training cushion shoe that is you'd be more than happy with for ticking off the miles, but I don't think you're going to get loads more out of it. It doesn't do anything really exceptional apart from a nice, comfortable ride. For faster sessions, it's not great. It's okay. You can definitely use this as a sort of holiday shoe, but really it caps out quite quickly after those sort of comfortable daily runs. You're not going to go out and do an interval session or anything in this shoe. Probably not going to use it massively for long runs as part of your marathon training. I think you'd be fine for that, but if you wanted to maintain a consistent pace or you were doing faster sections within that training, you probably wouldn't use this shoe. So really it's a solid all-round comfortable shoe that I'm more than happy to train with up to an extent, but it's not a shoe that is really that exceptional, and there are a lot of great shoes out at the moment which have the sort of cushion level but also a little bit of performance in them as well. The outsole is pretty good, so there's a pretty thick layer of rubber on the back sections and the front. There is quite a big bit of exposed midsole here, and this foam is a little bit more delicate than what you get in some shoes, so I would be slightly wary of that. I have seen a little bit of wear and tear on there, but the rubber is quite thick, so I think it'd be a while to go down to that. But I think once you go down to that, it's not going to be as durable as some other shoes that you'd use for the same purpose.
So I've run just over 50k in the Saucony Triumph 23, including a mix of general daily training, mostly easy runs, some slightly faster sections in that, and I did a long run in the shoe as well. I was a big fan of the Triumph line, going back to the Triumph ISO days when they moved away from the numbering system we have now, and I liked the Triumph 20 and 21 as well as pretty solid, cushioned daily trainers that had a bit of versatility. Wasn't a big fan of the Triumph 22, just found it a bit too big, wide, didn't really feel like the foam was giving you a lot back. It was quite a heavy shoe, quite a clunky shoe. It was quite stable, but didn't have a lot going for it. I think things have moved in the right direction with the Triumph 23. I think you've got a different feel to the Power Run PB foam in this midsole. It's got a slightly lighter feel, a slightly poppier feel. It feels a bit softer, a bit bouncier all round. The shoe in general feels like it's got a slightly more nimble ride. It is still really wide, and I think it still has lots of stability and everything like that, but it does feel like it's a little bit more energetic underfoot, but I wouldn't say it's a drastic change. I don't think it's really made the Triumph into a particularly outstanding shoe. I think it is a good shoe, a solid shoe. It's been comfortable in all my runs. I've been fine cruising through those longer runs, but I don't think it's got any really notable standout features to it in a very competitive marketplace. It does turn over pretty nicely when you're running at pace, but it's not really a shoe I'd reach for any kind of speed work. I think there are certainly cushion shoes that have a bit more versatility to them. Things like maybe the Asics No Blast 5, the Hoka Clifton 10 that I think are a bit better for faster stuff while still being very cushioned. I think the Triumph is more versatile and useful for different kinds of runs than the Triumph 22, while still I think being as comfortable and stable for easy runs. So I think it's an improvement, but I wouldn't say it's a particularly versatile cushioned shoe. And the ride is very balanced. Like it has a good thing in a way, like it will work for lots of different runners, but it doesn't have a very soft or springy feel. It's not very responsive. It's not firm. I think actually the 20 and 21 version of the Triumph, one of the reasons I think they were good and they stood out a bit was they were a little bit firmer and more responsive for a cushion shoe. They were still comfortable, but they did have a bit more pushback to them, so you could do a variety of runs in them quite well. This still feels much more geared up for easy running all round, and well, that's fine. Like I say, it's a pretty expensive shoe. I don't think there's much that I've picked up on during my run test that would make me go for this over lots of other options, especially some that are cheaper.
So my verdict on the Saucony Triumph 23, I think it is a solid shoe. It's very comfortable. It's much nicer to wear than the Triumph 22. It has more smoother action to it. It's very nice for ticking off the miles. It's a solid, comfortable daily shoe. The only thing I think it's missing, and I think that's really down to the fact that the 21 was so good and I enjoyed that shoe so much, I just don't think it's as versatile as that shoe, and I don't think it's as enjoyable to run in as that shoe. So step in the right direction in the Triumph 23, and I think a solid shoe you're going to be happy with in a lot of cases, but I do think that it's not as good as some of the previous versions, which I'm comparing it to basically because I really like those shoes. I went down to say those shoes are some of my favourite shoes when it comes to cushion daily training, but I do think it's a significant improvement on the Triumph 22, which is a welcome change, because I was not looking forward to testing the 23 if it was going to be like the 22. It's not. It's a better shoe, but it's just lacking a little bit of versatility. Other shoes that you might want to look at instead of this shoe, one of them is the Saucony Ride 18. Now that shoe, it's very similar to this shoe in a lot of ways, and it's significantly cheaper as well. I think the main difference now is that this is a bit softer, a bit more cushioning in it, but the Ride 18 is not far off, and it's a more versatile shoe as well. It's got a bit more of a balanced midsole and a bit more responsive, definitely better for a bit faster training, and cheaper as well. You might also want to look at something like the New Balance 1080 V14, which is a great all-round daily shoe, very similar in a lot of ways to this. I'd probably say that the Triumph 23 is probably just a little bit softer, but between those two shoes I'd be hard pressed to choose which one I'd go for, because I think they're very similar. I'd probably go for the Triumph 23 just because I like a bit more cushioning when it comes to my easy runs, but I do think that shoe is just a tiny bit more versatile. So all in all, solid shoe, good improvement on the previous version, but I still think there's a bit more that the Triumph line can do to get back to the good old days of the 21.
So my verdict on the Saucony Triumph 23, it's a solid shoe. You pick this up, you can run a lot of happy miles in it. I'm sure it's going to be pretty durable. It's got quite a nice feel to it. It is comfortable, it's protective, but it's pretty expensive, and it's not one that's really impressed me as much as lots of other cushion shoes out there, including a lot that come in at that price bracket below it. So if you're looking at the more £140, £130, even £110 in the case of the Puma Velocity Nitro, you've got lots of really nice cushion shoes around there. Things like the Clifton 10, the Asics Nova Blast 5, the Puma Velocity, new version coming soon, even the Brooks Go 17, that are all cheaper shoes that I think perform as well or even prefer to the Saucony Triumph 23. Like, one of the things that's a bit different about this now, I suppose, it has that 10mm drop, which is a bit less common these days. So if you do prefer the higher drop shoe, you've got this as an option, but the Puma Velocity is a 10mm drop, so is the Brooks Go 17. They're cheaper. I think they perform just as well as the shoe, really, especially the Puma, which I think has a livelier midsole actually than the Triumph and is a lot cheaper, similar stack height. And then the Nova Blast and the Clifton are both slightly smoother shoes with a nice rocker to them. Again, really nice and cushioned, more cushioning actually than on the Triumph, but lighter, a bit more fun to run in at any pace, really, and cheaper. So, and then within the Saucony's own lineup, you've got the Hurricane 24, which I think if you really want this all-out cushioned cruiser style shoe, I think the Hurricane does it better. I think it's more comfortable. I think it rolls through more smoothly with a slightly lower drop, more of a rocker. I think the midsole setup works well in that shoe, and maybe the Triumph would be a slightly more versatile cushion shoe than the Hurricane. It's probably got a bit more pickup to it for faster runs. It's not much for change there. I think the Hurricane probably feels like a better cruising option if you're having that in a rotation, or just an easy run shoe to pick up lots of mileage, or as your only trainer if you're looking for a very comfortable shoe to do all your running in. So yeah, that's really the main problem with the Triumph. I didn't really dislike it at all on the run test. I think it's a bit better than the Triumph 22 in terms of the ride feel you have here, but I think it's expensive. I don't think it's doing much different to other shoes out there, and I think there are shoes you can get for less that I found more fun to run in at a wide variety of daily training paces.
Verdict then, for me, the Triumph 23 falls into a pile of shoes that I consider competent, capable, easy cruisers that deliver for the slower end of things. It didn't blow me away, and I still think the Triumph 21 had more versatility and more to offer. It was better at faster paces, basically. It just felt a little bit more immediate. Now, if you want a soft, wide platform that will cushion and cocoon, the Triumph 23 definitely does that. The caveat here for me really is that there's a lot of other shoes that do that equally as well. And for me, it's not really a standout shoe. That is not to say that's a bad thing. Not all shoes really need to be mind-blowing. It's okay just to be competent if the price is right. There's merit in just being a cushion stable workhorse that will look after you for most of your runs. And that's pretty much what you're getting here, or most of your slower runs, I should say. But I think really where I struggle with the Triumph is that I could probably use the cheaper Saucony Ride 18 to cover the same kinds of runs and save a decent amount of money. I would even probably pick up the Saucony Endorphin Speed 5, though it is much more direct and less cushioned, a bit more sort of racy and punchy, less forgiving than the 23 for sure. But I can still go easy in it quite comfortably. So for the extra £10 you'll pay for the Speed 5, I think it offers a whole lot more range as well. So if you can get away with that, I think the Speed 5 is probably a much better all-rounder.
That's it from us on this full review of the Saucony Triumph 23. Thanks a lot for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and click that little bell. If you go in the caption below, you can find it into our podcast, which comes out a couple of times each month. Thanks a lot for watching. Catch you next time.